Hello and welcome to the home of the Ghost Owl, and here we are for continuing our series of faction focus. We're now onto the Warriors of Chaos. I've got 3 more faction focuses that I'm going to do because those are the books that I have left. Warriors of Chaos is next, and for those that haven't watched this series before, this is basically about looking at the old 8th edition army books, or the last army book that was released, like in the case of the Bretonians, and seeing how the units played, how they performed in the 8th edition, to give us an idea of how they might play in Warhammer The Old World. So, for example, a unit of heavy durable infantry are likely to be heavy durable infantry in the Old World. So, we've done a lot of factions so far. We're now onto the Warriors of Chaos. Now, the Warriors of Chaos, they've actually got a pretty large roster, having just come off the Lizard Men, which had quite a limited roster in terms of overall number of units. Warriors of Chaos blessed with quite a large roster, but also on top of that, blessed with the fact that the majority of the units that we're going to cover in this series actually have miniatures still available or have been reimagined and are currently in Age of Sigmar, so would just require base change, and we'll look at that as we go through. First up, however, are the Warriors of Chaos Lords. And here we have the Chaos Lord itself as a starter. You can see here on the right hand side, you've got the old style plastic Chaos Lord on foot, and here on the right side we can see 2 new miniatures. These are reimagined miniatures, Chaos Lords on demonic mounts, which is one of the options, and actually looks pretty cool overall. I think they're really nice. I think they've been done really well. They're quite dynamic, lots of detail, so really good miniatures, and obviously they're available to get now. And also, if you're looking for a conversion for Archaon, because Archaon in Age of Sigmar is on a big mount, actually this miniature represents a good opportunity for conversion of Archaon on his demonic steed. Right, but let's look at the Chaos Lord itself. Stats-wise, high weapon skill, and we're talking about a weapon skill of 8. That is very, very good. Strength, toughness, initiative, attacks, and leadership. And what we will see as we go through this faction focus, certainly when it comes to the infantry side of things, and actually the bulk of the units, they have very good stat lines across the board. The flip side being is they don't have that many special rules or any at all. So, but yeah, the Chaos Lord, a beast of a stat line. Say that weapon skill of 8, strength 5, it's a toughness 5, good leadership of 9, and even the other stats which aren't outstanding are still pretty good. Equipment wise, plenty of options. They come with a hand weapon and chaos armor. Chaos armor specific to this faction gives them a 4+ armor save, and wizards can still wear it and cast spells. They also have options to take that additional hand weapon, a great weapon, a flail, a halberd, a lance if they're mounted, and a shield as well to improve that armor save further. They also may take a chaos mark, 100 points of magic items and 50 points of chaos mutations. And just a reminder of those chaos marks, which are faction-wide rules, except where specified. If you take the mark of Khorne, you gain the frenzy special rule. If you have the mark of Tzeentch, you get a 6+ ward save, or if you already have a ward save, that improves by 1. Also, if you're a wizard, you re-roll any channeling dice rolls of 1. If you're Mark of Nurgle, you're -1 to hit in close combat. And if Mark of Slanesh, the unit automatically passes fear, terror, and panic tests. However, you can't have more than 1 Mark of Chaos. And you also, if you do decide to give your Lord a Mark of Chaos, bear in mind he can't join any unit that has a different mark. So if you decide that you want to give -1 to hit in close combat and make a Nurgle Lord, he cannot join a unit of Chosen who would have the Tzeentch Mark of Chaos. So you need to plan your roster out carefully. Generally, I would look at building my army list first, seeing who I want where, and then seeing what mark suits them the best. Most of the time, I would be looking to take a mark, where possible, but undivided isn't a terrible thing either. Now, you also may be mounted on a Chaos Dragon, a Chaos Steed, the demonic mount, as we see on the right-hand side. You've got the Disc of Tzeentch, but only if you have the mark. Juggernaut of Khorne if you have the mark, a Manticore, Palanquin of Nurgle if you have the mark of Nurgle, and a Steed of Slaanesh if you have the mark of Slaanesh. Special rules, he gets the Eye of the Gods, must always accept and issue a challenge, can be a bit of a pain, though they're pretty killy characters. However, if they do kill a character in a duel or they do kill a monster, they immediately roll 2d6 on the Eye of the Gods table. Essentially, that will give you multiple buffs. Everything, +1 strength, toughness, all these sort of things. But if you roll a 12, then you automatically turn into a demon prince and get all of those things. And if you're unlucky enough to roll a double 1, then you become a chaos spawn, such is the fickle fate of chaos. So Chaos Lord then, even at 210 points, that's a beast of a stat line combined with some of the most options of any character in terms of build, and that's because you've got these marks, you've got the magic items, you've got the chaos mutations, plus you've got all these different options in terms of war gear, which means essentially you can tailor that Lord perfectly for how you want to play your army list. Do you want him to be an absolute melee demon, go in there and absolutely kill everything? Do you want him to be really tough and durable? You can really sort of go down that path. Personally myself, I prefer to keep my Lord on foot, make him a bit of a melee beast, and then put him in a unit of chosen. And there's not much those between them couldn't take down. And though while characters riding monsters were most of the time not considered optimal, a Lord on a Chaos Dragon was a seriously fearsome opponent. Expensive at 540 points, but he actually could do some real work on the tabletop, though certainly wasn't my preferred way of fielding them. Next up, we have the Chaos Sorcerer Lord. Now, compared to most sorcerers, all stats are unusually average, except they actually have quite good weapon skill and leadership. Again, they have a hand weapon, but unusually they're coming with that chaos armor. So your sorcerer's getting that 4+ armor save, which they don't normally have. They also can take their chaos mark. Tzeentch, probably where you're looking at here, though be careful because again, they can't join a unit that doesn't have the same mark. You get the same with the magic items and chaos mutations. Come as a level 3, but you can pay to make them level 4, and they can have Law of Death, Fire, Metal, or Shadow. Mark of Tzeentch, however, must use Tzeentch, but they can also use Metal. Mark of Nurgle must use Nurgle or Death. Mark of Slaanesh must use Slaanesh or Shadow, and of course Khorne does not cast magic. Again, maybe mounted on the same mounts, and those, if you have the relevant mark, you can also pick the relevant mount there. Again, special rules, Eye of the Gods, so your wizard now must always accept and issue a challenge where possible, but again, can also roll on that Eye of the Gods table. You can see them on the right-hand side here, both of these still currently available in Age of Sigmar, particularly now you've got these individual monogod factions with Khorne, Nurgle, and so on. You can see you've got like a Nurgle sorcerer going on here. You've got like an undivided version here as well, all available. So, like the Chaos Lord, you've got a huge number of options to choose from, though it is 25 points more than the Lord. And you also have to be careful about which mark you choose. As I said, it restricts not only what unit you can go in like your Chaos Lord, but does restrict what laws of magic you're going to take. So definitely think about that one. So for example, if you want to take Law of Fire, then you definitely need to be undivided. Now, if I was going to go and make my Chaos Lord really expensive, then I would actually just go with 2 Sorcerer Champions. However, normally I would go for a fairly cheap melee Lord, i.e. not have him on a mount, keep him on foot, kit him out with some magic items and stuff, and then also go for a relatively cheap Sorcerer Lord level 4, normally undivided. That gave me the most flexibility in terms of the lore that I wanted to take. Law of Fire, not too bad, but Shadow and Death also being pretty good. But then you could choose the lore that was most suitable for the tactics you wanted to use. So that's the Chaos Sorcerer Lord and how I preferred to run them. And to be honest, I don't expect to see massive changes across the board. I think Eye of the Gods may well stay in. It was quite a cool mechanic, very chaosy. The mounts, most of these mounts are still available in some form or another. And in terms of the laws and the magic that's being used, I wouldn't expect that to be too different, because these are the laws of magic that fit the lore. So I expect this would be much the same. So the final Chaos Lord that we have for the faction is the Demon Prince. There are older versions, but the one you see here on the screen, that is the new version of a Chaos Demon Prince. Obviously, you can tailor the miniature through conversion and other things to make it look more Khorne-like or Tzeentch-like or whatever. Overall, then they got good movement. They got which is 8 base. You got, if you have wings, you can fly on top of that. Good weapon skill, strength, toughness. In fact, one of the highest weapon skills in the game at 9. They've also got a leadership of 9, so an excellent stat line. Only just slightly better than that of a Chaos Lord. Equipment-wise, they got a hand weapon. They may take Chaos Armor, that's not included. They can also take their 100 points of Chaos Powers, but only 25 points of magic items, and have the option for Demonic Flight. Now, they can also take essentially marks, but they take a Demon of Chaos mark. It's a specific one for the Demon Prince. So if you take him as Khorne, he hates demons of Slaanesh, but he gets +1 strength in the charge. Tzeentch hates demons of Nurgle, but rerolls ward saves of 1 and channeling results of 1. Nurgle hates demons of Tzeentch and -1 to hit in close combat, and Slaanesh hates demons of Khorne and gains armor piercing. Now, they start off with no wizard levels. However, you can pay 35 points per level all the way to a level 4, unless you take the Mark of Khorne, in which case you can't. Special rules, they have demonic attacks. That basically means that all attacks are magical. It has a demonic keyword, has invulnerability, so it comes with a 5+ ward save. So unless you're taking that Chaos Armor, that's all you've got. If you take Chaos Armor, you're on a 4+ armor save and a 5+ ward save. And they have Terror and Unbreakable, as you'd expect from a monster. However, same cost as a Sorcerer Lord, and initially with the stat line, you're going, wow, the Demon Prince looks like a steal for that. However, as a monster, he cannot join units, and a 5+ ward save with toughness 5, 4 wounds is not that durable when they're out on their own in the open, vulnerable to spells and war machines in particular. So I rarely took a Demon Prince. I preferred to take the Lord and Sorcerer combo, and if I did take a Demon Prince, it would normally be melee focused with Demonic Fly combined with a Demon of Nurgle for that -1 to hit, and to be honest, rarely going above Wizard level 1, trying to think about those points. You go 4 Wizard levels at 35 points each, on top of the 235 point base cost, starts to get expensive. So, there you go. That is the Lords category for the Warriors of Chaos. I hope you found it interesting. For those that haven't played a Warhammer Fantasy Battle before, you get a see how the Warriors of Chaos look in there, particularly because they're quite a popular faction from what I've seen in Age of Sigmar. But if you did play Fantasy Battle before, this is a good refresh on the Warriors of Chaos and their options. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. Let me know why in the comments down below. And as always, if you want to see more content, hit that subscribe button. It's totally free for you to do. It means a massive deal for me, so thank you for that in advance. You've been watching The Ghost Hour. Tune back in when we look at the Warriors of Chaos heroes.